Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Coffee with the Mayor and City Manager. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Mayor Cal Sheehy, joined by City Manager Jessica Knudsen.
Good morning. Merry Friday.
Today is Friday, May 2nd, and as usual, we'll go through hot topics that are happening here in Lake Havasu City, and then we'll answer any questions that you may have on anything that we covered or anything else that might be on your mind. So we'll start with how you got here today on the roads. We have lots of road work happening throughout our community. We're really grateful that we were able to invest in our road infrastructure over the last several years so that we're seeing more and more road work progress happening. Since we last met at the coffee, Lake Havasu City Council approved additional road work that is going to occur along Mesquite and Civic Center Boulevard. Some of that work, I actually believe I saw being paved last night on my way home. So so that stuff is now going through. So the downtown core project is what we're calling, basically from the London Bridge, McCulloch, Swanson, Smoke Tree, and also Mesquite is all coming together. In addition to our annual road maintenance program, which you have seen, which we used HA5, which, Jess, if you want to talk a little bit about that product or some of the additional products that we've done for the maintenance.
Yeah, we talk about road work. There's really so much that takes place. The true money and the long-standing projects that you see is when you see the city out there, or the construction crews, when they're milling, they're removing roadways and then filling that back with solid asphalt, and those are expensive road projects, and we want to make sure that we're maintaining that for as long as we can. So we want to make sure that we come back and seal those projects with a product, in this case is called HA5, Holbrook Asphalt. They have a recipe called HA5, and really it's a sealant that we put on the road after it's all said and done. So we're trying to, if we put asphalt down in 10 years, it's going to start to crumble, and you're going to see sands and the fines that show up. But if you're sealing it in proper maintenance, proper care, you can extend that life of that road for another 5+ years. So that's what you're seeing out there too. So yeah, we have chip seal, we have fog seal, we have true asphalt projects, and the HA5 that's out there as well too, in addition to our crack seal product and so forth that's out there. So we're doing our best to try and invest taxpayer dollars, local taxpayer dollars, into our roads and into infrastructure. And every time we touch a road, a big asphalt type project, we're milling that road, we got to make sure that water line, that sewer line underneath that road is either in great shape, or we need to replace that before we replace the asphalt, because we don't want to dig up that road in a couple of years just because of a line break that might take place. So lots of investment into our infrastructure. We're coming to a close as the heat starts, and then we've talked about it at the last budget work sessions in terms of CIP or capital improvement projects. Be looking at some significant road infrastructure work in next year as well too. So looking at possibly Coma, Kiowa's part of the conversation, and then in addition to our regular fog seal, chip seal, crack seal programs that are out there as well too. I did see every now and then I'll dabble on social media, and I do see this is the worst possible timing of why the city would do a road project. And when it comes to events or travels or busy weekends, things like that, our roads don't care. In the end, if we're going to put a good product down on our roads, the temperature has to be just right. So I think we did our HA5 application, took us about a week and a half to 2 weeks. There's 1 or 2 days during that process where we couldn't apply it because the temperatures dipped too low. We had a really calm, beautiful day, but it was too cool for us to apply that product, and it wouldn't take, and it wouldn't be, we wouldn't get our money's worth with that application on that certain day. So you'll see in the fall and the spring is where the city's busy with the temperatures, is busy with those road projects that take place. So we also, at the last council meeting, the council approved a PCI, or pavement condition index, type of technology that the city is going to invest in now. So right now what we do is we have a lot of really qualified, great people that go out there and try to assess our roads the best that they can, to try to prioritize where we're going to put the funds and what roads need to be repaired and what type of product needs to take place. So we have a technology now that we're going to be utilizing, that we're going to scan every lane of every road. It's going to take us 4 days of driving up every lane of every road within the entire city, and then we're able to categorize that based on the condition of that roadway. And then we're able to put a program in place to say, the score of this road is a 58, This one's a 42, so 42 is a worse score, and we're going to apply our investment, our attention, and our resources towards the roads in the right priority, in the right order, to make sure that we're meeting the needs of the community.
Yes, with that technology that Jess just mentioned, you'll be seeing these really high-tech vehicles driving through our community with cameras and radar going through to actually take the thickness of the roadway, what the base is underneath it, getting real data for it. So when you see it, you might be like, oh, wow, that's a pretty trick vehicle, but really it's taking data for us. It'll go up a lane and then come back down a lane so we get both sides of the roadway. We won't be just determining it on an average of 1 lane mile or 1 lane travel to do both sides. And again, we'll be able to do that and make our decisions on road work based on that data. As Jess mentioned, our team, we have qualified folks that do that, but because we have over 450 lane miles within our community, it takes us 3 years to complete that full cycle of assessing all of the roadways. So this will allow us really to have great data to be able to move forward and make decisions. Making decisions,
investing where we need it the most, maintaining our roads the best way we can, but also providing that information to our residents that say, you know what, the road over here is in need of repair. City, can you tell us when you're going to take a look at that? And we can say, okay, well, it shows a score of this, and right now we're hitting the roads with a score of this range. So it's coming up maybe next year or whatever that looks like, or your road's in great condition compared to some other neighborhoods that might be out there. So that's it's a really great tool for our team, a really good information for our residents as well.
So again, road work has been happening all over the community from north to south, and we appreciate your patience. And it should be wrapping up in just a few more weeks because of the weather. And then next year, which next year in the city's term means July 1st, we'll then start the planning for some of our fall projects and then into the spring. We only have a few short weeks in the spring and fall because of the beautiful weather that we enjoy throughout the year that we can apply any of these types of things. So thank you so much. I'll talk a little bit about Main Street Commons. It opened since last time we met. It actually opened for Desert Storm weekend last weekend. It was really well received. The folks that went on the street, which I think was pretty much the entire community from the pictures I saw and from what I was told, there was wall-to-wall people on that street, but the feedback has been really fantastic from the event promoters. They actually used the space, had to put their rigs in there and some of the amenities that their guests were going to be using, had great things to say about it, as well as the users that had things to say about it. So really excited to have Main Street Commons open and usable for our citizens. We've had lots of feedback from people that are now either using it or driving up and down the street. So it's really fantastic. There's still some additional work that will be done. We've talked about this before, but we will be considering putting restrooms and a concession stand in that area. That should be coming before council after the July 1st budget year starts for us to be able to start some of that work. It might even come a little bit sooner to council.
We're hoping for June or July, so that right in that time frame.
Okay.
Yeah, at least to start that conversation.
So again, if you haven't been down there, go down, check it out. It's a lot of great things that that park or that gathering place will be able to be used for. And as we start to see different uses for it, we may see some different iterations of it, just like any other park that we have in Lake Havasu City. When Rotary Park opened, for example, the Rotary Park that we all enjoy today is not what it was when it opened all those years ago. So it may continue to grow with different amenities or different uses as different citizens come forward for uses in that area. Desert Storm was a great weekend. We made the world news, obviously, with that boat incident, which was very fortunate that the drivers and the occupants were not harmed significantly, but what a spectacular show outside of that incident that occurred throughout our weekend. We were able to invite so many people to see the beauty and greatness of our community, as well as many citizens that were able to enjoy that weekend each year.
And if I can, kudos to those the two drivers of the boat. As America One is the name of the boat that they drove. They won first place, took home $20,000. You think they need that money for repairs to the boat? They donated that money back to our local Kiwanis Club and other local charities. All that money came back to Havasu. They said they had a great time, and we'll do it again next year. Hopefully they're going to stay on the water that next year. But how great was that for them to do that?
And how great of a finish is that to win first place and still have that boat do that? So,
Right, yeah.
No, it's an amazing event, and so many of our citizens enjoy that event. And again, great to showcase Main Street Commons as well. And if you get a chance, go check it out.
People don't believe it. They say it's AI now. They can't happen like that.
Yes, so she had mentioned that people thought that the video was AI and that it didn't actually occur. It's funny, a young citizen here in town said the same thing when they saw it across TikTok. They said to me, it was AI. Speaking of AI, there's actually this video we saw this week.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
If you go to YouTube, it's Kingman Past, Present, and Future. You just go to youtube.com, type in Kingman Past, Present, and Future. And it's actually a video. It's about 4 minutes and 30 seconds. And that video is taking still photos.
Old black and white still photos of the caveman.
Like for the original days. So the Mojave County Historical Museum, I believe, provided the shots. But really old photos. They took it in using AI technology and turned it into a moving video. So you actually see some Native Americans that are in a posed photo sitting down. They stand up and then they start walking. Or there's old cars like on Beale Street, like just a still photo of an old car, black and white. It's now moving. It's almost like they put like the current picture on it and moves it along the lane. It really was quite amazing from a technology standpoint and a historical of our neighborhood. So youtube.com, Kingman Past, Present, and Future. Amazing what that technology is. But that was the first thought that a young citizen said to me is that, well, that was AI. I'm like, not from what I'm hearing.
Well, then you see with the here as a Desert Storm event, it can't be AI if there's 70 different angles and videos of it, right?
Yes. Yeah. And I saw the video of it being pulled out of Site 6, too. So, yeah, the damage occurred on that. Yeah. We also, since we last met, we refinanced the sewer debt. I think last time we were together, we had said that we were going to be doing that, and it was out to market. Well, that has happened, and we were able to refinance the sewer debt, not looking to extend the term or the length of the debt. That all remained the same. We really were just looking for a reduction in our interest rate. So we were able to get that reduction. It was a blended average of 4% or so, resulting in a net savings of $1.22 million a year to our wastewater fund that we'll be able to use those monies now as operation and infrastructure investment into that fund. So a really great win for Lake Havasu City. A lot of those things would not have been possible if a few things did not occur. So a big kudos to Jill Olson, our Administrative Services Director and Finance team under her leadership to be able to get our rating has increased. So our bond rating increased over the last year. We also have a structured rate schedule that we're all paying as users of the system that's definitive, that the bond market's liked. And so some of those things have now resulted in the ability for us to save over $1 million a year through the life of the remaining debt on that area.
Again, yes, Jill Olson is amazing. Her team is amazing and taking a close look at this. Again, to reiterate, it's just like refinancing your home, but you're not taking any money out. You're not extending the term. You're keeping everything exactly the same, but you're just trying to you're bringing down that interest rate. So we went to about 5% down to about 4%, again, saving about $1.22 million that we can reinvest back into our infrastructure, our wastewater infrastructure in Havasu. Part of that, I'm very, very proud of this. We spent 2 weeks prior to issuing the bond, and so we have companies that come in and assess our financial health. Ask questions, look at budgets, want to know more about all things related to the infrastructure we have, the dollars that we have, our policies in place, our financial wherewithal. It's for just this transaction, but very, very proud of this. Lake Havasu City received its very first ever AAA rating for this transaction, which is phenomenal. It feels really good. We know we're in a good spot. We're doing great things, investing back into our infrastructure, doing the right thing when it comes to our finances. But have that affirmed with the city's very first AAA rating was very great. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. All right, we are working on our budget. It's budget season in Lake Havasu City. Budget season actually is like 10 months long for Justin and his team, but for the council, it's about 4 or 5 months long. And so it starts from the council's perspective at our annual planning session, which happens at the very end of January. We get a high-level overview of where we're at from a financial perspective and where we anticipate to end at the end of our fiscal year, June 30th. We go through all of those components and we talk about priorities, we talk about projects that are already in the works, and we talk about anything new that we're hearing from citizens or that would be a strategic initiative for our community to move us forward. And so then we have a budget work session for our capital improvement plan in April. I believe we might have talked about that last coffee that we were together. And then we have our operating budget, so how do we pay the salaries and all those things, that will occur this month in the month of May. And then we will adopt a tentative budget in June, and then our final budget in June as well, corresponding with the property tax rate, which we are anticipating to keep flat at this point, will then occur in July. So it's kind of the time frame of where we're at. But lots of discussions that have been occurring throughout that. We'll take questions at the end. So if you just want to take notes, it's May 15th. May 15th will be the budget work session. That's at 9 a.m., and that'll be right here in the Lake Havasu City Council chambers. But we have lots of different conversations that are occurring throughout that budget. Roads and infrastructure, that's one, which just alluded to earlier. But we also have been having a lot of discussion on a second pool. And a second pool, actually, from my perspective, started right here at a coffee with the mayor and city manager. We had some interested citizens that needed more time in the pool. It's actually surprising. I think one of our facts last month when we were ending coffee was over 65,000 people used the aquatic center last year. 65,000 uses, that's huge. So it just can show you how many people use that facility and for different uses. So it could be lap swim for just general exercise. We have some competitive swim teams. We have the high school team. We have the Stingrays. We also have a variety of exercise, organized exercise programs, water aerobics and those types of things. There's some therapy that happens. And then there's just open swim for families and folks that just want to go and enjoy the pool and the water slide and the wave pool and all of those types of things. And so there's lots of competing uses. And so we've had some discussions about a second pool and what that should look like and what the size should be and where it should be. And so we're making some great progress. There was some discussion in our current budget. So the budget we have right now, we adopt a 5-year CIP budget. So 5 years of capital improvement projects, all programmed out by year. So this year we have our CIP projects. Next year we have them, and so on and so forth for the full 5 years. Last year we programmed money into our CIP for the second year. So that'll be the budget that starts on July 1st of 2025 to be able to do something with a pool. And there was some confusion maybe in the user groups and maybe with some council that we would be able to build the pool because it was in the budget, which you are able to do that, but not until the money's available in the budget. And so we were able to clarify that, and so Justin and his team have done all of the things that they can do about building a pool. Well, we strapped his hands behind his back and gave him no money to do it. So they've done a lot of work on that front. And then July 1, should our budget pass with that programming remaining the same, then him and Jess and his team will be able to move forward because they'll have the funds to actually go out and build the pool and do all the things associated with that. So really the only thing they've been able to do with no money is to be able to have conversations, have preliminary sketch drawings, in-house conversations, operational conversations with those that would be running it or using it, those types of things. But there was lots of discussion. We actually had a whole action item just on the second pool, and we've had a lot of engaged conversation. There's many other projects in the budget as well. So there's lots of exciting things. We can talk about Station 7, which Chief Ploffis showed us at coffee a couple of months ago. His dream rendering might not be the actual rendering it's going to be, but that's just his sketch as well of what that's going to look like. But we have money in the budget for that. We also have repairs we phased in repairs to the police department building. That building is over 30 years old now as well, and needs some maintenance, serious maintenance, and it got a start on it this year. And the unfortunate part is the stuff that it got started on isn't even fun stuff. It's like sewer and plumbing and all the things that aren't even
AC.
Yeah, it's AC is fun when you have it. But,
AC is fun.
Yeah, but otherwise it's not like new carpet or desks or like a refresh on it. It's literally stuff that cost a lot of money and doesn't look like you got anything for it. Jail doors. All of the things that go into running and operating a police facility that has a jail. But there's money in there for that. Talking about airport hangars, also talking about the Site 6 fishing dock, redoing that fishing dock that's out there now. That also happens to be very old, and we have some grant funding available to get that done.
Thanks to former County Supervisor Buster Johnson for the use of the ARPA funds before he left office, just for that project alone.
Yes, he was very, very gracious to be able to work in partnership with us to get that done and enhance the improvements that we already did at Site 6 this last year with the ramp and also making it easier to get in and out of, redoing the parking lot, all of those types of things. We also have some Rotary Park improvements. You want to talk about that a little bit, Jess, what we're anticipating to do there?
Sure, lots of conversations that are taking place and what that looks like in terms of that area. The city applied for and received a grant for some improvements down at Rotary Park, including the parking lot, some curbing, replacing, repairing sidewalks, restrooms down in that area. And then just trying to beautify, maintain, and improve that area that we have down there right now. Through the budget process, if the budget is adopted by council, also looking at introducing a splash pad down in that area, Rotary Park, which would be at the south end of the channel, the old RC Park, for those that remember that. We had Bullhead City introduced a splash pad in their community a couple of years ago, and our phones have been buzzing ever since and saying, hearing from young parents or parents with young kids and saying we need more for our kids to do, and that's what that would try to address, a step forward in that direction. And so looking at introducing something fun down there, improving our park areas. Also in the CIP, in the middle of the channel, between the entrance of or exit of Rotary Park, as you walk through the channel, every year you see the porta potties that are out there. So we're looking at right now in the proposed budget, still has to be adopted by council, has the replacing those porta potties with permanent restrooms. So and making that area look a little bit nicer. I think this last Desert Storm event, we even found one of the porta potties in the channel, so we don't want to see that. But yeah, we had a lot of one-offs that took place through that event. But yeah, replacing those porta potties, having something a little bit more, nice to look at, established for sure. Yeah, sophisticated, and so those are some of those things that are identified through the CIP and budget process. We're also talking about reintroducing some one-time funds into the parks budget for continued maintenance within all of our park systems, including Rotary Park, but all of our park systems. They're out there working hard to replace water fountains and ramadas and painting and repairing sidewalk and concrete and fencing and dugouts and all the things that we needed to do a better job over the years. And now's the time for us to stop and get this done. There's also dollars proposed within the budget for new ball field lights at Rotary Park. Those field lights, we hear those lights are pushing 30 years old. So they're the technology. It's the old metal halide lights that are out there. We hear a lot of complaints from neighbors in the area about the lighting, but also the users, as it doesn't work as nicely when you're trying to look at a ball coming towards your face, and there's a lot of black spots and stuff that are out there. Going to an LED lighting system too would save the city some dollars each and every year, so that's helpful. Also looking at doing the same thing at the Sarah Park ball fields with a new lighting system for the exact same reasons that I just spoke about at Rotary Park. So. Yeah, lots going on, and the direction coming from council back to myself and the city team is we have a lot of beautiful parks. Let's make sure that we're taking care of them. let's hit pause and maybe on the new stuff, but let's take care of the things that we have to make sure that we're taking responsibility for our park systems.
So through our Community Affairs Department, Jerry Bruckamani and Steve in the control room have created videos of all of our parks. So throughout the month of May, stay tuned to our social media, and you can be reintroduced to many of the parks within our community. Actually, one of the videos came out just this last week. Yonder Park, I didn't realize even had basketball amenities up there. So you get reintroduced to some of these things, and you can just remember exactly what happens in our parks there. So stay tuned to social media and enjoy those parks, and then go out and maybe use those amenities at those different parks. A lot of the park improvements that just mentioned are all grant funded. So the stuff at Rotary, with the exception of the splash pad, would be grant funded for us to do this, so that it makes sense. We're trying to find and leverage dollars as best we can so that we can increase the amenities and the usability of our stuff, but also not have it cost so much money. So pretty exciting.
Again, you talk about grant dollars. We were bringing in comparison to previous years in Havasu, we're bringing in millions of dollars a year. And that's because we have a really wonderful grants coordinator, Vijay Sari, is pretty phenomenal. We're out there seeking every last dollar that's available, applying for those dollars and doing the best we can to bring what I call outside dollars into Havasu to invest into our residents.
Yeah, and Main Street Commons is another one of those. We've talked about it a lot about how the funding is, but nearly 95% of that was either our winnings from the America's Best Community competition that we were part of, or grant dollars. So just really amazing things are occurring using those types of funds. Also in the budget, which is another pretty exciting thing, is we have our parks plan to go through and do a master plan for our parks to make sure that we're taking a look at what our current park amenities and assets are, what the future might need based on the users that use our parks. So if in 2040, do we have enough softball fields? In 2040, do we have enough soccer fields? What type of maintenance would go into those types of things? How do you plan for that? What we've done in the past is, and it's worked, but it's not ideal because we have passionate users that come forward and they want to do a project. And so we do that project, but generally by the time that project's done, just because of the length of time it takes, those users or those passionate people that are driving it, their children have grown up past the area that they need to use that amenity. So for example, when we did Cypress Park, it took us a while. That was led by the soccer community. We have nearly 1,200 families that participate in soccer. It's a really popular program, and we didn't have enough fields. We still don't have enough fields, but at that time we really didn't have enough fields. And so we were able to work on finding a place to put it. And so Cypress is what came forward. The challenge is we didn't own Cypress. It was owned by the school district. And so we had to work out an arrangement to purchase Cypress Park to use it. We then had to build it. We then had to have the grass grow. And then we were able to put the users. But that's a 4-year process or so. If you have a student or a kid in your family that is maybe in the 4th grade at that point, they're now a high schooler before they can use that. And now they're on to different sports or different areas. So with a master plan, we can ensure that families don't have to go through that in the future, including our senior leagues. We have senior leagues that play at really odd hours because it's the only time that it's available that there is a field. So with the lighting technology that just mentioned and looking at from a master plan perspective, we're able to hopefully identify these challenges before they get to a place where we don't have the option for our citizens to be able to use some of these amenities. We also are going to put a placeholder of some money, if approved by the council, to be able to do anything that the master plan says to start it. I mean, the master plan's obviously we already know that we're deficient in field space for all users across all segments, whether it's basketball or soccer or softball or baseball. We know we're deficient, so we're not going to be able to solve that problem immediately, but we will be able to have some dollars available to give flexibility to Jess and the council to make some decisions on that front. And we've also recently entered into an agreement with the Lake Havasu Unified School District. We worked with the school board and the superintendent's office to be able to use their fields more regularly and put some additional amenities there that might make sense. And so we have a couple of areas that have some really nice amenities or nice space, but they don't have the exact amenities that might be needed. But now we'll be able to do some of those things.
Yeah, so that the relationship or the partnership with the school district that the city realized, the school district has grass. And we have parks maintenance crews. So let's get together. Let's utilize some of that grass space on the school campuses throughout the community. So our kiddos who are in the soccer clubs or in the baseball, t-ball, other local sports can do practices and possibly games in some locations. So that's a real good one. Got with the CIP, our capital improvement plan. It's a 5-year plan. In response to the last budget work session that we had, we looked at trying to do our best. We identified some dollars for ball fields, but they're out in year 5. So we're going to do our best to try to address that the best that we can. I have Councilmember Cameron Moses, who sits on the Parks and Recreation board as the council liaison in my office every week and saying, all right, where's it at, Jess? We need ball fields, ball fields, ball fields, ball fields. And he says that because he's hearing from everybody within the community that's saying, my kids need a space to practice, to recreate, to enjoy Havasu. Right now, the existing conditions, right, we have a soccer field over at Cypress Park, for example, that's heavily utilized to the point where we have so many kids on that field that it's a big challenge to make sure that grass stays green or just in place at all.
That's actually grass there, not dirt.
Yeah, right, exactly. I mean, soccer, right? They're starting and stopping over and over and over again with all those little legs. They have practices that go to sometimes like 10 o'clock at night because that's the only time that they have to fit in all those kids into that area. So there's obviously a real big need, and so we're maybe some other relationships with the school district. But that Parks Master Plan is going to be a big deal. It'll assess and inventory all of our existing parks, give us some ideas for amenities and what our residents want. There'll be a lot of community outreach and asking our residents what our park systems should look like in contrast to what they are right now. We'll do an assessment in terms of available land for ball fields. The trickiest part about looking at additional space for ball fields outside of what we discussed so far is we need flat land. So anytime you see some of the land that the city might own or that it would be a possibility for a ball field, if the terrain is and topography would require so much grading that it's more than half of the cost of the entire project. It costs us more to move dirt than it would to develop a ball field. So we're trying to find ways to minimize the cost of the grading and the dirt work that could take place. So we're working hard. We're doing our best to identify the dollars, and Vijette, and her team are looking at grant funding and outside dollars to help us and assist us with that. But we hear our residents, and I certainly hear Councilmember Cameron Moses and the rest of the city council. Let's get this done.
Parks Master Plan will also help Vijette, be able to go through the process and say, hey, this is identified or this is a future need, and if there's funding available, then we'll be able to go out and hopefully seek some opportunities from a funding perspective as well when it comes to parks. So we'll be able to get a lot done by doing this planning and engagement process with our citizens to ensure that we're meeting the needs that our citizens have now and into the future, which will really be quite fantastic. So while we're talking about planning, let's pivot over to our general plan, which we also are going right into that process as well. So our general plan is it's the overarching planning document for our community. It is required to be updated every 10 years. The last time that we updated our general plan was in 2016. So 2026 is when the 10-year requirement is. The process is, it's an intensive 12 to 18-month process, engaging the community across all sectors to ensure that we're identifying what the future of our community needs are going to be. It then would go in front of our Planning and Zoning Commission. They would make a recommendation to the City Council for approval of that document. The City Council would hold a public hearing. They would then adopt that general plan, and then it would move forward and go to the voters. So it actually has to be ratified by the voters. So in our general election in 2026, the general plan will be on there. So the general plan takes a look at 17 different factors in your community. So it wants to ensure that we have all of our future planning is considered. So where are our employment areas? Where do we want employment centers to occur? Where is medical going to be? Where is education going to be? Livability and quality of life. Where are those areas? What type of park amenities, which is that segue from our Parks Master Plan and that process that will be able to be included into our general plan. How do we get around our community? So traffic modalities and what does that look like? I've joked before here, like we don't even know in 20 years how we're getting around. Are we going around in the Jetson style, or are we going to be still driving cars? I mean, we don't know. Maybe who would have imagined what the technology has been since Henry Ford, got his first vehicle out to what we're driving today. So, but we have to plan for those types of things. So if, for example, everything goes electric, do we have enough electricity for that to occur? And how, if not, how are we going to ensure that that's there? How do we make it standard that every home has an outlet for that? Again, I'm not saying that's where it's going, but if it is, we need to make sure that we have the ability to do those types of things. That's what this document does. But it's all led by citizens. So in our last council meeting, Jeff Tuneman, our Development Services Director, brought forward the communication strategy and plan that was adopted by the City Council. I believe the Planning and Zoning Commission is hearing it on Wednesday as well,
yes.
That item. So that'll be another public hearing that will be occurring just this coming week at the council chambers at 9 a.m. on Wednesday. The document is basically the strategy that we're going to engage our community. So the thing right now that you can do is you can go to our website. There's also a special website. I don't know.
There's a link on our, if you go to the city's website, there's a link to the special website that's just specifically for the general plan.
Yeah, so it's a survey. So yeah, we're real fancy with our own website. I still don't know the URL, but go to the Lake Havasu website at lhcaz.gov. Again, lhcaz.gov. It'll be very clear. You can follow the link to the general plan website and you can fill out the survey. That's the process we're in right now. There's also an opportunity for citizens that want to get involved. I'm actually hesitating because the deadline has actually passed. I think it was last Friday.
Yes.
Yes. So there was a process if you wanted to be part of the committee, but you would have.
There's more avenues too.
Yeah, but there's several more opportunities for you to do it. But this would be the most recent one ended on Friday. Those folks would be appointed and will be helping to lead the effort, and they're citizen led. And then there will be lots of other opportunities for the general public to participate in this. And we really want you to participate. So when we see things like on social media that says, how come we don't have a this? Or what is the city thinking building, that multifamily housing there? Or what is, what's the city thinking by not having a road to this area? The first thing is the city doesn't really build anything. We just facilitate, we build public.
We build fire stations
Yes.
and roadways and police stations and things like that, but we don't build houses or
Chick-fil-A.
I almost said it and I stopped and then you said it. That's funny.
Yeah. Well, we would love to have those here. So and so we help facilitate, but the general plan does those types of things. So in our scenario of a Chick-fil-A, they would take a look at our general plan and say, this is where what Lake Havasu City looks like. These are the folks, and this is what their plan for the future is. They then would make a decision and say, looks like that community is aligned with what our vision is for our company, and we want to move there. Then what happens from the general plan is the zoning regulations are then created from the general plan. So we don't change the zoning. It's the underlying zoning remains, but the general plan would support a rezone. So you see, oftentimes you might hear in the paper that somebody's coming through and wanting to change the zoning on something. The only way they can do that is if the general plan supports that. There is a way that they can do it without the general plan supporting it, but that's a further intensive community public process to do that. But the general plan, if that supports it, they can come in for a rezone. The Planning and Zoning Commission would hear it, make a recommendation to the City Council. and then the city council would make a final decision if that could happen or not happen. But it's a really important process, and we really encourage all of our citizens to get involved in the general plan. It really allows you to have a say in the future of our community and how development looks and how growth looks or doesn't look, how the roadways look, all of those types of things. You'll have a say in how it's going to come together. Or if you have anything to add to the general plan, Justin?
The key there, I was talking to Jeff Tuneman, who's our Development Services Director, just yesterday, and then talking about all of the work that the team and the consultant's going to do for the next several months, just in terms of community engagement, and community engagement. So we're reaching out, different local nonprofits, anytime we can get in front of a crowd or a group of people to talk about what the general plan is, try to solicit some information. We'll have the steering committee, we'll have conversations at the P&Z. We're going to do interviews with individuals. We're doing this survey now. We'll do additional surveys that are out there. But engage. Try to solicit as much feedback as we can from our residents to ensure that the plan reflects what our residents as a whole want to see in Lake Havasu City.
Again, go to lhcaz.gov and get engaged. Get started today. It's never too late to be a part of the process, and we're really at the very beginning stages of that general plan. So you'll hear us talk about it a lot over the next year or so as we head into the general election in 2026 for the voters to have the final say on that process. We also have had a few land sales. So the Arizona State Trust Land owns lots of land that surrounds Lake Havasu City. It owns lots of land surrounding us and also within our community as well. Primarily, they own most of the shoreline, is either state trust land or some federal areas. So some significant trust land sales occurred. Just last week, there was an auction that occurred up at the Mojave County Courthouse in Kingman. So that's where the auctions happen. You know, they grab a paddle and it's a real auction where you just keep going up to whatever the final bid is going to be. And so a local developer purchased 630 acres on the north end of our community for $10.3 million. That area would appear to be in Lake Havasu City, but it's actually in the county. So it's in there's lots of pockets on the north end of the community that are city land surrounded by like county land, and then as you get to the very northern end of our community, it's all county, of course. But so that will not be there'll be a public process for whatever happens there, but it will be occurring with the Planning and Zoning Commission of Mojave County and the Mojave County Board of Supervisors making those decisions. So, but it's a large amount of land. 630 acres is really, really large. And again, it just occurred last Wednesday, so I'm not sure what the future of that will be, but that's not going to be in front of Lake Havasu City.
So what my counterpart in Bullhead City is Toby Cotter. He's a city manager in Bullhead, and at that auction, there was the land sale for the 630 or so acres in the county north of Lake Havasu. There was also an auction for some land out in Bullhead that sold out there as well too. Mr. Cotter was at the auction there, and so he's sending me pictures of who's there, and then all right, minimum bid starts at 3.6 million for the auction in Havasu. That was the minimum bid. Then he's like, and then I'm getting a text every 30 seconds saying 3.8, 4.1, 4.3, 4.6, and then I'm telling him, hey, wave at the auctioneer for me. But in all seriousness, the number of text messages I got from Toby on that one till the final price went up to $10.3 million on a minimum bid of $3.6 million. So outside of our city limits, but we're going to be talking to the county and the developers as much as we can. We can't control it. We have no authority with regards to what takes place there, but we have influence, and influence is going to be important. Because whatever happens there, residential, commercial, or industrial, or otherwise, is going to have an impact on Lake Havasu City.
So yeah, we'll keep you posted on any information that we know about it. But state trust land, if someone was interested in purchasing it or wanted to do something with state trust land, they would go to the state trust land department or the state land department, and they would fill out applications and put some sureties down from a financial perspective, and then it would go to auction. So just because you're the person that starts the process doesn't mean that you're the one that's going to win the land, which it actually happened in this case. The person that started this process is not the one that was the highest bidder and won the land auction. State trust land was created with statehood in Arizona. So it's in our Constitution. There's 12 beneficiaries that the trust is to fund. Most notable is the K-12 system, but there's 11 other beneficiaries as well. And their entire mission is the highest use of that land. Doesn't mean what you and I think highest use would mean. So it doesn't mean that maybe a park should be next to an area or a waterfront should remain open to the public. It means money to them. So what's the best value that they can give to their beneficiaries? Again, it's in the Constitution, so they're constitutionally obligated to do that. And so that process can occur at any time that somebody comes forward and says, hey, I'm interested in this land. They do all of the processes with the application and the sureties that they can take it to auction. And then it goes to auction at that point, and it's anyone's game at that point. So it doesn't come back to the local jurisdiction. In the case of last week's auction, Mojave County, several times in the case of ours, like Havasu City, to then do whatever zoning or other requirement that is there. So another state trust land item that occurred was over what's called the Waterfront property. This is over on the island. It's approximately 90 acres of land, what used to be a golf course on the island. Has gone through and done community-wide meetings, which far exceeds what our code requires. Our code requires a neighborhood meeting, but they opened it up to the entire community to get feedback and input and share their vision for the land that they own. They actually did 2 of them. They had 2 of those meetings in the month of March. Citizens went through, and it's quite interesting to me. I went to both of them. It was an open house kind of scenario where you would see poster boards, ask questions of any of their representatives, and I went to both, and maybe spent a half hour at each. So just a small snapshot of who attended, but it was quite interesting to watch citizens engage with the landowners about what their plans are, and the developers to come back with answers to the citizens that were engaging in that process and actually changing their vision of their land. So, and again, I only saw really small snapshots of time, about a half hour on each day. But someone had mentioned, putting parking in one area, and the developers know, like, parking is really important to me. I want to make sure that there's enough parking for the general public to come in and enjoy these amenities, as well as boat parking, because there's going to be, as visioned right now, there's going to be a boat launch facility open to the public in that area, some shoreline access areas, some retail, a variety of different housing areas. So right now that land is zoned as a golf course. That's the zoning. So this is, I'll explain the process for you now that I was talking about the general plan a little bit. So the general plan obviously thinks it's a golf course. So if you want to do anything other than a golf course, the general plan wouldn't support it. So that public process is that the landowner then will come forward and ask for a major general plan amendment. So it's major because the general plan says golf course or open space, and now they don't want it to be that anymore. So we have to update the general plan. So that would be 2 hearings in front of the Planning and Zoning Commission, 2 public hearings, citizens to engage and be part of that public testimony. Recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission would then come forward to the City Council. The City Council would have a public hearing, so engaging with the neighborhoods and the public, and then the council would make a final decision if the general plan, the major general plan amendment would be approved to then allow a mixed use or whatever the application is going to be. We have no applications in front of us right now. So once those come in, we'll be able to talk specifics. So I'm just talking hypothetical. And so if it was a mixed use, then if the council adopted that, they then would have the opportunity to come in and have a rezone. And so they would rezone it from golf course to mixed use, again, hypothetical, whatever that might be. If that is the case, they would go in front of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Planning and Zoning Commission would make a recommendation to the City Council. And then the city council would make the final decision if that rezone was going to happen. Now, sometimes you might see some of that on the same agenda, so that two different public hearing items. So there'd be a public hearing to consider the major general plan amendment, and then maybe a rezone request, potentially. But again, we have no application in front of us at all. But I would say, again, in the small amount of time that I attended these community meetings that were supposed to be neighborhood meetings, there was lots of people there. I mean, 20 to 25 each time I was there, which...
At a time coming and going.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like a churn throughout, which is a lot of people to engage in an area that may or may not impact you at all, depending on what area of the community that you live in. So I know you attended one of those as well. If you have anything to add on that Waterfront project.
Yeah, the Waterfront Project is, they're soliciting some feedback, talking to the neighbors, talking to the community about what that development kind of looks like. So we haven't seen the application just yet. So they're putting together kind of their plan, and we're waiting for that to take place. I think on a larger scale, we talk about state land, right? We just talked about the 630 or so acres in the county north of Lake Havasu City. We're talking about the old golf course on the island. In both instances, this was land that was owned by the state land department, by the state of Arizona, that went up for auction and was sold. In my mind, as I'm looking at this, and what's important in terms of like why we talk about how much it's sold for, the 90 acres on the island was appraised at $7.5 million. It sold for $24 million. The land north of Lake Havasu City in the county appraised at $3.6 million, sold for $10.3 million. Now, the drive and the motivation of the state land department is to raise as much through the Arizona Constitution. They're charged with raising as much money as possible for their beneficiaries. I think there's 13 across the state, but the biggest one is our public school system. But Havasu is now on their map. When you can appraise land for a certain amount and then at auction get a much higher price, they're going, oh goody, this is exactly what we're trying to accomplish in terms of raising the dollars. If you look at a map, and there's several maps online on the city's website, otherwise there's a lot of state land in Lake Havasu City on the north side within our boundaries, on the north side outside our boundaries. Even with the 90 acres being sold at the auction with the state land department on the island, we still probably have about 60-70% of the remaining property on the island is state land property. So, it's something that we're working very hard to try to minimize the negative effects associated with these land sales and this development that's occurring out here. I know the council about 2 years ago adopted a resolution to preserve shoreline access. In particular on the island or in other areas of the community where for generations our residents have dipped their toes into the water for free, right? And there's no charge or developer or anybody else standing in their way. There's other things that we're researching on the back end to ensure that we preserve that to the greatest degree as possible. So lots of conversations there, trying to get ahead of these things, trying to forecast different scenarios and put the city and our residents in the best possible situation. But there will be additional state land sales. That is evident that will occur. We've had questions coming from our residents, justifiably so, saying, "Hey, well, why doesn't the city just get that land?" Well, sure, we can acquire that land through the state land department. And when we asked them, they said, "Yeah, absolutely. Here's a paddle." So we're standing right next to the other people that are bidding on that property. There's no mechanism in place. State law actually makes it illegal for them to convey property to the city within certain parameters. There's certain things and tools that we've researched the heck out of them to try to identify it. That land sale that took place on the island, at that time that took place, Beachcomber and McCulloch Boulevard on the island, the loop, the roadway, the city didn't even own the right of way. Years and years ago, the city put a road on state land property that we didn't own. I guess it's better to ask for forgiveness than
probably before we were a city that we did that.
Oh yeah, I mean
we inherited it
decades and decades ago. As long as since that road was first constructed, way back then, and then development takes place where that road that relies on that roadway. We reached out to the state land department and said, well, how much for that roadway? We need to buy our right of way for the road we already have. They came back and said, for you, we'll appraise it at $13 million, but we'll take it to auction and anybody can bid on it. It's like, okay, well, hold on. There are some circumstances that take place. Mayor, you have a fantastic relationship with the previous and existing state land commissioner, so we're able to engage them on certain things. We're able actually to tie that right of way. So these are the very specific things where people shouldn't just be able to buy a road, right, on the public. So we worked with the state land department for several years and tied the conveyance of that right of way to the sale of that auction that took place on the island. So instead of the city paying $12 or $13 million, whatever number they threw at us, that took us a while to stand up after that, but we were able to acquire that right away with no cost to our residents on that one. But I just want to talk about that state land process because, again, this auction that took place in the county, north of Lake Havasu, was a number that was, I think, significant enough that the state land department is going, okay, what's happening in Havasu, and we're reaching our goal because of what's happening in Havasu. And what does that mean for us? What does that mean for the city council? What does that mean for our residents? What does that mean for our city, present and future? So lots of conversations out there right now, but doing our best.
So we're trying to find that careful balance. For example, there's an area on the island called That Beach, and that's the name of it. You can't just get to there without kind of off-roading yourself over there, and you go down the embankment, and then you can have your vehicle right there as you're using that north end of Lake Havasu. And it's an area that how in the world would we ever preserve that? If someone bought that property from the state trust land, again, we don't have the ability to say, no, you can't buy that property. That's not an ability. How do we keep that vibe and that heritage of our community of residents that love to do that? Because residents love to do that. They do that every single weekend and even midweek throughout the warmer months of the year. But that's important to us to be able to keep those abilities for our citizens to enjoy those types of things. And so you can see kind of the interesting space we find ourselves because we have no authority, we don't own it, and we can't stop the sale of it, but we still want to use it. And so we try to find those balances, and as just mentioned, we were able to find that with the roadway. So it was reported, I believe at the time, that the sale of that was like 162 acres or something, but really it's about 90 acres of developable land, which is the former golf course. The rest of it was our right-of-way. But when we got our right-of-way, then we were also able to redo the pedestrian path around the island because we weren't able to do that because we didn't have the right-of-way to do so. So lots of different things come through. So we shared a little bit of how the sausage is made. It's complicated, but we're always working to ensure that our citizens have the ability to do the things that they love to do, and that makes our community so special. So. We have a couple of things before we will turn it over and answer any questions that you all may have. But a few things that I want to go over is that we are having several vacancies in our boards, committees, and commissions. So if you're interested in serving Lake Havasu City in any way, we have several boards, committees, or commissions. You can take a look at our website at lhcaz.gov to see what positions are available. These are positions that citizens currently serve in that may be terming out of their term when the new fiscal year begins on July 1. So if you're interested, please reach out to the city clerk's office and fill out an application, and they will fill you in on the process of that appointment. So again, if you're interested, please feel free to do that. The 30th anniversary of the Aquatic Center is now, it's in May, it opened 30 years ago. And so tomorrow, actually at 10 a.m., 10 to 2, there's a 90s theme free open swim and event. We'll kick it off with proclamation and some words, and then the Elks Club will take over and throw a party, a 90s themed party. So bring your family, come down and enjoy that tomorrow.
Free open swim tomorrow.
Yes, yeah, anyone can come for no cost. And then we have a Truckapalooza on May 15th from 4 to 7 p.m. in the Aquatic Center parking lot. So if you're interested in that, bring your kiddos down and check out all the heavy equipment and mean machines that do lots of the work. But that will be a fun thing.
Fire trucks, police equipment, public works equipment, all the cool trucks that kiddos would like to take a closer look at. So. Yeah.
And I did have to practice the name of that several times. So I was like, I'm never going to get that out. But
you did good.
I got it. Yeah, it came right out. And so before we take questions, I just want to mention that sometimes it's good to see us close a loop. And so we've talked a lot about the partnership that Chief Palafis, our fire chief, put together for students, high school students, to go and learn about EMS and medical services and a career in fire service. And so he created a partnership with the Lake Havasu Unified School District and was able to get students. Now our Lake Havasu City Fire Department team go in and teach a class to high school students. And last night, Councilmember Moses and myself were able to attend their skills show off to their family and the community. And they were able to, put all of their gear and their turn-ups, and they're timed, and so that the standard is under 1 minute. I think the entire group was, there had to be 17, 18 people, students that were there. It was like 54 seconds that they all were geared up and ready to roll. They then did a variety of different scenarios. One saving a person from a second story and providing life-saving measures on that person. One putting out a fire using the hoses and water, and then the communication strategy. But what is the most exciting to me, and this is the loop that's closed, is at the very beginning of it, they introduced themselves and to their families and the group inside before we went out to the training field. And out of the group, so again, 16 or 17 students, I would say 10 of them are going to be going into the fire service. So the program works. So they even announce the schools they're going to for the fire academy. And I would say the other 5 are going into the medical service, so nurses and the like. And then there was a couple that one's going to be an engineer. So maybe they'll build fire trucks. But so nonetheless, it's a great opportunity for students, and it's a great program that we can all be proud of as a community that we're building and growing our own. And so quite amazing. I just wanted to share that with you because it was kind of a touching moment that you're able to see the chief's vision and then actually turn it into where folks come here. We've actually hired our first team member for Lake Havasu City Fire that went through that program, and it looks like there's several more on the horizon now. So with that, I would like to introduce formally Councilmember Cameron Moses joining us this morning. Thank you, Councilmember. And today, Councilmember Moses is going to run the microphone. So if you have questions, just raise your hand. Please wait for the microphone because the folks watching at home won't be able to hear you otherwise.
Yes. In reference to the general plan, you indicated that the zoning might not necessarily be changed after the general plan. How would the city council then proceed to handle the conflicts between the general plan and the zoning? Can you change the zoning to make it match the general plan?
Yeah, great question. Well, it's good to see you, James. It's been a while, so welcome back. Thank you for being here. We missed you. So the general plan is, again, the overarching document. The landowner has private property rights. So we can't just come in and say, because the citizens believe that your property should now be a gas station, that we're rezoning you to a C1 or C2 designation. Especially if that was in a neighborhood, and right next door you had a residential neighborhood or neighbor there, and now all of a sudden we're going to change the zoning just because of a general plan. So the general plan document would support it if that was what the community came in, but the property owner gets the ability to do that. Yeah, do you have a follow-up question to that? Yes, okay.
In reference to the zoning codes that have the charts that show the uses, there's a situation where the RMH specifies the city has included in there, and it didn't used to, that you can put an R1 inside that, and yet that negates the minimum lot size, because for R1 it's 10,000 square feet, for RMH it's 7,200 square feet. And there have been some situations where people have built R1 within the RMH. And how do you eliminate that?
Yeah, great question. You and I have talked about this in the past. So all of the letters, just to bring everyone up to speed, is a manufactured home park area, and you can put like a single-family stick-built home, like one built with wood in that area. And I believe the question is how do you prevent that? So leave manufactured home parks or home zoning areas, manufactured home zones, and stick-built areas. To fix that, get involved in the general plan process. So through this process, provide that feedback that you would like that to be there, and that will be considered by all of the different committees and people that are going to be hearing this issue. But now is the time to potentially, in your case, in your belief, fix that. I don't know if everyone believes it, because I think the stick-built people that live in your neighborhood, they kind of like that ability because now they have a home. So not everyone's going to win, but yeah, now's the time to engage in that process if you want to try and make change to that.
You just say stick-built people?
Yeah. Okay. That's how I would draw them too, is a stick build. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
What's happening on South Palo Verde, just above Lake Havasu Avenue, where the middle of the street's all churned up and they've got a bump there? Is that something we're going to fix?
Yeah, that's a great question. I actually drove it the other day and wondered the same thing. So I'll turn it to you.
Yeah, I don't have the. Yeah, we're working on that. There is a solution that has to take place there. There is asphalt that is eroding right down that center turn lane, and we have cones up in that area. Those are instances where these are roads that need to be milled. The asphalt needs to be removed and needs to be replaced. But in the meantime, there's going to have to be some temporary repairs that take place in that area. So, for years we put chip seal on top of chip seal on top of chip seal on top of chip seal for many, many decades, and this is an instance of where that eventually that's going to fail. But we need a long-term solution. But prior to that, we need a short-term solution. So.
It was kind of like an overnight fail too.
Right.
I drove it one day and it wasn't there, and then I just drove it this week and I was like, that's weird. So, yeah, good question.
Good morning. I just have an announcement. I wanted to remind the community that Mojave Community College is offering College for Kids again this year. We're doing it a little bit different. It's going to run the entire month of June with 3 weekly different camps. So they'll have their selection of if they want to go into the healthcare or scientists or paws and pets. These are just some of the classes. There will be 12 of them. Prices vary. It'll be for 8 to 12-year-olds. And the time frame is 8 a.m. to 12 noon.
That's a great program. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning. I was wondering a couple things. Actually, yes. One, I just wanted to make a quick suggestion on some of the roads where the lane changes into one lane, where there's used to be 2 lanes and then it goes into 1 lane, like on perhaps London Bridge Road, where in front of, around the corner by Chabones, where it becomes 1 lane. Sorry. Put arrows on the ground, because in the past, before you guys did all of the asphalt, all the new coating on there, the bicycle lane, people literally think that is 2 lanes all the way through, and it would go all the way through. But my question, that's just a suggestion. My question is, now I have to think about it. I know, right? Okay, do that.
Thank you for the suggestion. We appreciate that. We take those comments into consideration when we're doing things. I will mention, though, London Bridge Road is a little bit unique. We do get a lot of feedback on London Bridge Road, similar to the county pockets of land off of the highway. The same thing happens when it comes to London Bridge Road as well. So there's parts of London Bridge Road that are in Lake Havasu City. There are parts of London Bridge Road that are in the county. And so it makes it very difficult for a continuation of that roadway and the repairs that are going to occur on that roadway. We do have the Metropolitan Planning Organization, which from a regional perspective are looking at traffic modalities and planning, which we do, and we have Mojave County representatives as well as city representatives on there, but it makes it very, very tricky when it comes to those types of things on London Bridge Road because of the ownership or the jurisdiction of that road. Not everyone knows that, and so it's sometimes good just to put that out there.
Do you work with the landlords in regards to impeding traffic on the road, such as Mesquite where Lakeside and LabCorp is?
Good question. Yeah, that is a dangerous place to come out of, right? Yeah. So,
go into.
Yes, it's that's a tricky spot. So we do, and but we don't have anything currently. Well, we changed the code, but before changing the code, those folks are able to do what they do. So the parking requirements for that building, for example, where LabCorp's at, was met, and they meet all of those areas. That's a parking and common area as well. So as soon as the lots to the west start to develop, then more parking, paved parking will occur in that area. I know Councilmember Moses had some conversations with some of the property owners to increase the parking in that area, as have I in that area. And we're hoping to get that in a better area. But some of the multi-use areas, because right across the street, there's then multi-family condo type arrangements. We've increased the parking requirements there as well. So new developments will have that addressed. But it's so then we try to manage it with other techniques, such as if you're coming out of that building, we ask you not to turn left. And so you can see that no left turn sign there. Not everyone follows that, but it's there. We then paint curbs red so that we can try and give you viewing corridors as you're trying to make your way out of these intersections. And so we take each one just a little bit different. That one is you have very, very, very popular medical specialists in that complex that just a lot of folks go to. And so that's a unique situation, but yes, we're aware of it, and we are helping to mitigate it with the property owner, as well as using some of the very limited tools that we have in our toolbox.
Now I have two questions. I'm sorry. The first question is not first question, it's a comment in regards to the whole. That's why the general plan is important, because that building was built back in the early 2000s, and it was not projected to be some doctor office with 10,000 doctors and patients. It was a kitchen and design store. I don't think if it had stayed a kitchen and design store that we would have that issue with the parking lot. My question is, during the city budget meeting, one of the council members mentioned having the city help with the World War II memorial out on London Bridge Beach, and I was wondering how that process worked and how much the city would be doing with that.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So the Marine Corps League, Detachment 757, is the recipient of a relic of the USS Arizona. So they were able to work with the Navy to be able to get this piece, and they worked really, really hard on doing this. Member Gus Bader started the process. He was a CB, took it to the Marine Corps League, and everyone bought into it. And they were very, very diligent in making sure that we got something that we could be proud of. And we have a really amazing historical relic of this area that's fairly large, probably 5 feet wide by maybe 5 feet tall or so. 6x4. Kim McCoy, who is with the Marine Corps League, past commandant, is in the audience today, so thank you for that. And so they've been working on doing something. Now we have the relic, and the relic has been out in the public on December 7th during Pearl Harbor Day for the last couple of years. We've had ceremonies first underneath the London Bridge, and then the city is working in partnership with the Marine Corps League and are going to have set aside some space in the London Bridge Beach Park for this relic to go. Worked with local architect Selberg and Associates to kind of develop what this monument or memorial could be. It went through a variety of different iterations. The space that this will go would be near the 9/11 memorial. So if you're at London Bridge Beach Park, you'll see several flag poles over by our well area, and that's the 9/11 memorial. It'll go in that area, but if you're looking at the 9/11 memorial, looking towards the water, you'll see a beautiful vista of obviously the lake and the mountains, and Cupcake Mountain is in the background. And so it's going to be a really great spot for this. And so the Marine Corps League has been working on raising money, and they've raised several, or a good considerable amount of money. And during
Google Marine Corps League Lake Havasu City, you can go to their website and be a part of the process to donate funds for this particular project, which would be fantastic.
And so the iteration of this design will have all of the folks that passed away in the USS Arizona. Their names will be engraved in this. It'll be a walking memorial that you'll be able to go and really pay tribute to the history of that impact of how the U.S. actually entered into World War II, the lives that were lost, and how our nation and world was forever changed. So it's a really great piece. There's some other pieces that are there. There's one down in the tribal area. Do you remember where that might be?
Talking Stick over in by Scottsdale. There's a really beautiful presentation that they have there. There are other communities across the country in Arizona, but that Talking Stick one is pretty special.
Yeah, so at the budget work session, I had asked my colleagues if we could consider a $100,000 contribution to get this area off, and we have that support verbally. The budget hasn't been approved yet, so right now all of the discussions we're having are discussions. So until the budget actually is approved, but by nod of heads, it looked like everyone was in support of doing that. It will be the mechanism is it's a park. It's a park amenity where citizens can go and gather and do all of the things, either pay tribute or celebrate or memorialize. And so that would be the mechanism, is through our park system. And hopefully we're able to do that. And maybe on December 7th or very, very shortly thereafter of this year, we can have the ceremony at the new memorial at London Bridge Beach Park. Are there any additional questions? All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Before we leave, we always like to end with facts. So again, we talked about it already, but tomorrow at the Aquatic Center, we're celebrating 30 years of creating great memories. So it'll be from 10 to 2. There'll be a short presentation, and then the free open swim, including lunch, provided by the Elks as we celebrate 30 years in Lake Havasu City. It's also interesting that the Elks Lodge was the very first group that rented the facility for a public free swim, and they've continued to do that free swim every single year since then. So they opened it with a free swim, and now we're celebrating 30 years with a free swim. So the Elks Club does amazing things for us. We have every kindergartner in Lake Havasu City is offered swimming lessons through KinderSwim, which is part of the school district curriculum and also paid for by the London Bridge Rotary Club. So if you go to the Bloom Festival, you're giving money to help make sure all of our kindergartners are taught swim lessons. More than 24,000 people participated in exercise classes in the pool and in classrooms last year. 24,000 people, that's amazing. We have the only operational submersible bulkhead in the U.S. So that's to do with the wave head. So it's the only submersible, which that's a cool thing, right?
If you want to replace parts, but yeah.
The pool deck is now climate controlled. So if you went to the aquatic center and you used the pool, maybe when your kids or grandkids came to visit, or when you were a kid and it was so hot and muggy and you're like, what am I doing in here? It's not like that anymore, so go check it out. We spent a lot of money on climate control in there, which makes it, one, a whole lot more comfortable for the users, and two, also helps our equipment. So, you know, that real humid environment was not doing very well for the care of that facility. The building opens every morning at 5 a.m. 5 a.m. that building opens and then runs programming all the way through the evening. And we also have a government liquor license, which is fairly unique, but since it's a government facility and the Relics and Rods Hall is used for so many different things, whether it's pickleball or basketball or a concert or an event or a public speaking engagement, it's used for so many different things that sometimes it makes sense that people are going to want to have something to drink in that environment. So With that, I hope to see you all tomorrow at 10 a.m. at the Aquatic Center. Thank you so much for attending Coffee with the Mayor and City Manager. We will see you next time.
Have a great day. Thank you.